Four Non-Blondes came out of nowhere and seemed really out of place with what was popular in music at the time. The media harped on the fact that they were an all-girl group early in their career, and their sole 1992 record, Bigger, Better, Faster, and More, would go platinum, selling over 1 million copies, and producing what was arguably one of the biggest songs of the 90s and one of the most hated songs of the decade, What's Up? Despite the band's success, it became clear from the early days that this group wasn't going to last. Frontwoman Linda Perry would admit in 1993 to the LA Times, and I quote, "We thrive on being unpredictable, we get a kick out of breaking every rule we can. Today, let's explore why Four Non-Blondes broke up." The band's original lineup consisted of roommates bassist Krista Hillhouse and guitarist Shauna Hall, as well as drummer Wanda Day and frontwoman Linda Perry. The band would hail from San Francisco, and the members had actually played in and around the city's music scene for quite a while. Calling themselves Four Non-Blondes, they would take their name from an incident that happened whereby the members were sitting on a park bench. A blonde family walked by with a son who picked up a piece of pizza from the trash can to feed the birds. The boy was told by his parents, and I quote, "No, don't touch that, that's dirty from all the birds and people around here," with the mom glancing up at the band members sitting on the bench. Afterwards, the band decided they would call themselves Four Non-Blondes. The band was soon enough playing sold-out gigs at a local hotspot called Nightbreak. 6 months after forming, the band developed a pretty good following around the city, and their show started generating some buzz, and it gave them enough revenue to actually start going to a studio to record some demos that they would start selling at shows. It was by February of 1991, publications around the city hailed Four Non-Blondes as the best unsigned act in the city. By May of 91, they finally found their home in Interscope. The foreshadowing of the band's eventual demise happened pretty early on. During the negotiations, with Hillhouse writing on her website, the A&R guy from Interscope Records and his assistant were at the show, and we were to all have lunch afterwards with our lawyer and our manager. As we prepared to leave for the restaurant, Sean and I noticed Linda being whisked away into a limo. Linda being singled out in this way made us both take pause. The foreshadowing couldn't have been more obvious if we were making a B movie. She would go on to remark that they would have probably signed Linda Perry on her own if she would have been willing and able to at the time. It wasn't long after signing with Interscope the band fired their drummer after they concluded she wasn't suited to playing particular ballads on the album in the studio. Don Richardson would join the group based on a recommendation from a friend. Recording their debut album also exposed more problems in the band. Guitarist Shauna Hall's playing wasn't up to par according to her bandmates, and she would also be fired and a session player be brought in with the first male member, Louis Matoyer. According to her bandmates, Perry was a visionary, and she would have an exact idea of what she wanted done in the studio, and if her bandmates got in the way, then they would get the axe. The group's debut record, Bigger, Better, Faster, More, would be released in October of '92. The band would have some big success early on in Europe, with the single What's Up topping the charts across the continent, and peaking at number 14 back home on the Hot 100 charts. The song has since amassed over 1 billion views on YouTube. The group's label would tell the LA Times that their initial plan was to build a base on college radio and then release What's Up as a single stateside, but that plan would fall by the wayside as the band's popularity grew quicker than the label actually expected. What's Up would be a song that actually predated Four Non-Blondes, as Perry had written it when she was playing solo shows in San Francisco. The band had a phenomenal 1993, landing some major TV appearances and touring alongside Aerosmith. By early 1994, the band was still riding high off the success of their debut record, but the band was exhausted. According to Hillhouse, the group planned to work with Jane's Addiction and Alice in Chains producer Dave Jordan, and it was during the recording of their sophomore effort Linda Perry told her bandmates that she was done with the band and wanted to go solo. Perry also had some reservations of the style of music the band was playing, and she would tell The Advocate in 1995 after her departure, "We had What's Up, this song that was very poppy, and we felt like we had to follow that style on our next album. But I didn't want to make that kind of record again." Perry would end up getting a solo artist deal with the same label, which was Interscope, and the band's early commitments in 1995 were called off. Perry's foray into solo territory wouldn't fare well though, as her debut solo record in 1996, In Flight, was a commercial bust, just selling 11,000 copies in its first 4 months of release. Perry and Hillhouse would reunite in 1999 in support of Perry's second album, opening for Bryan Adams. However, in the new millennium, Perry would find massive success, becoming a producer and songwriter, working with the likes of Pink, Christina Aguilera, Enrique Iglesias, and Miley Cyrus. She'd even be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. The Four Non-Blondes would reunite for the first time in nearly 2 decades in May of 2014 for a benefit called An Evening of Women, celebrating arts, music, and equality in Los Angeles. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, if you have suggestions for future topics, use the link in the description box below, and we'll see you again in Rock and Roll True Stories sticker.